If you're gone all day, but you still want dinner ready when you walk in, these Crockpot recipes are life-changing. No more overcooked mush after work. These are going to handle 8+ hours and still taste amazing. Tonight for dinner, we are having a Korean beef in the Crockpot. Really easy to make and pull together. I'm gonna go ahead and do everything now. I also have some rice that we're gonna prepare to go with this, and I'm thinking about maybe doing some green beans on the side. All right, so I'm gonna use my measuring glass bowl thing here as a mixing bowl. The first thing I wanna add is some minced garlic. You could add, dried garlic if you want to, but I'm gonna add about 2 cloves of garlic. We have a 1/2 cup of, this is the no soy sauce, but you can use soy sauce, low sodium, whichever you prefer. Coconut aminos would be fine. If you are gonna use coconut aminos though, I highly suggest cutting down on the brown sugar content. I'm already cutting down on the brown sugar, but coconut aminos is a lot sweeter than soy sauce, so you wanna cut that down a bit. For the brown sugar, we're using a 1/2 cup of brown sugar to get that mixing together. Cayenne chili pepper, and you can skip this if you don't want any heat at all. Just a touch though. It's really probably a 1/4 teaspoon, not very much. You can add red pepper flakes, whatever your preference is there. And I have about a 1/4 cup of tapioca flour. Feel free to use cornstarch. I'm gonna mix it. Actually, let me switch to my whisk. We're gonna whisk it together and then add a little bit more, whisk that together, add a little bit more, making sure I get it nice and combined. A little more. And the last bit. Okay, I'm gonna set this to the side for just a minute and kind of let all those flavors sit together and work together. The brown sugar is almost dissolved at this point, but I really would like for it to completely dissolve. So if I just set it to the side for a second, that's gonna help that work. I just realized I have the sauce here and I never added in oil. So we need about 1 teaspoon to 2 teaspoons of oil. It's up to you how much you want to add, but good thing we hadn't finished this up yet, so that's all right. We are using flank steak today, and I'm gonna be using both of these, which totals about 1.5 pounds. Let's go ahead and pour this all over the beef. A little bit of sugar there at the bottom, but not much at all. Okay, let's get this into our crock pot. Lid on. I'm gonna cook this on low for about 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours, kind of depending. It is currently 11 o'clock, so that will be perfect timing. All right, this has been in for almost 8 hours. The sauce is like I don't want to call it thick, but it's not a thin consistency either. I'm gonna take this out and put it on this cutting board here and just try and shred it a little. And then I might just let the sauce sit for just a couple minutes with the lid off, then put the meat back in there. And if it's sitting in there, because I actually turned it on to high just a few minutes ago to start to thicken up that sauce, if it's sitting there with the lid off, it should thicken up even more. Then we'll mix the beef in with that sauce. Okay, so just push that to the side for a minute and shred this up. You barely have to touch it. Okay, I'm not even gonna put a ton of effort in here. Looks really good. Oh my goodness, you guys. I mean, you can see this is falling right apart. I've got some rice in the rice maker. We're gonna put this on top of rice. If you really want to thicken up your sauce, take it over to the stove top and put it in a saucepan for just a couple of minutes. That's really going to thicken it up and caramelize it. Let's try this. That's really good. All right, so I'm just going to give this a mix because it's just been, you know, kind of all sitting in one place for a little bit. And let's leave the lid off for about 15 minutes. Just see what happens. Another thing you can do is to take the meat and throw it under the broiler for just a couple of minutes and get kind of like those burnt edges, which adds it's a really good flavor. So there's a lot of additional steps that you can take with this one to add extra flavor. If you just want to keep it simple, just toss all the meat back in there with the sauce, mix it together, serve it over rice, and you're good to go. Okay, we're gonna take some of the barbecue or the Korean beef and put it on the top of this rice.
Oh man, that looks good.
Looks good, right?
Man.
Now I do think if you broil it, it's gonna darken up a bit, which does make it more Korean beef-ish. Okay, we thickened up a little bit of this sauce. Let's add some sesame seeds.
Definitely tastes like a Korean fare.
Yeah. We only have black sesame seeds right now, but the white ones would look really pretty. And then top that with some green onion. I am holding these backwards. We have seconds before the battery dies on this camera, so. That's really tasty.
That was really tasty. Perfect for some Cholula. On my plate.
Always putting hot sauce on everything I make. I do think if you're willing to take the extra step, if you pop this under the broiler and it adds those burnt ends, it really is gonna take it up a notch.
Yeah.
Although I think it is absolutely delicious just as is. It's really pretty. I love when I get a piece of beef and there's like a burnt, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
The burnt ends on any type of roast like that is really good.
But this is not dry.
No, not at all. I mean, this is
mouth-watering.
This was Crock Pot. This is a Crock Pot meal.
How long have you done this?
It's been in there for almost 8 hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's been on low for almost 8 hours. I turned it up high for the last 30 minutes just to get the sauce to thicken up.
And which steak did you use?
The flank.
Flank? Mm-hmm. That's good.
But it's good. It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, friends, we have been out at baseball all morning. I haven't even taken the time to really put makeup on today, but here we go. It is actually 11:30. Kind of wanted to get this into the crock pot before we headed out to baseball, but I didn't. So here we are. First of all, I want to tell you that I think that a bone-in Boston butt, a pork Boston butt, is one of the most economical things that you can make in the crock pot. This one is 6 pounds. We will get 3 to 4 meals out of it. So your protein for your meal ends up costing very little when you divide it by how many different nights you can get. Another thing is, one of you actually asked me in a recent video, what is something that I can cook in the crock pot that takes a long time? If you've been here for a while, you might see that I often make crock pot meals that only take 2 to 5 hours, but some of you are leaving the house during the day and you're gone for 9-10 hours or so. This is your way to go. Get yourself a big chunk of meat like this because it's gonna take a long time in the crock pot, and then when you come home, it'll be ready. And they can cook so long, and actually the longer they cook, the more tender they get. So that is definitely a suggestion. And then also, before I get started, I wanna say it was so good to meet Jan. Jan, we met on the plane the other day from Charlotte to Tulsa, threw me off. The whole situation was, we're boarding the plane, I'm in the center aisle, and it is not moving. I don't know if people couldn't find their seats or what, but I was literally standing in the same spot for what felt like 20 minutes. It was probably 3, but you know how that goes. And she recognizes me, asks if I'm on YouTube, but it was so nice to meet you. I love when you guys come up and introduce yourselves to me because I love meeting you all. But just don't be surprised if at first I'm very thrown off by it. Anyway, all right, let's get started. This one we're gonna use a couple of different ways. So the way that I'm gonna cook this, you'll see, is a little unique. If I was just gonna make one meal out of this, then I would go ahead and pour the sauce in pretty early. But because I wanna make multiple meals out of this, we're gonna save the sauce till later, and you'll see why. $15 for 6.38 pounds. Now, obviously, that does include the weight of the bone too, but you're gonna get a significant amount in here. The seasoning that I'm gonna be using is this Sweet Preacher pork rub by Fire and Smoke Society. We really enjoy this one, it's good. So we're gonna use that, and it doesn't take a whole lot. The sodium in this one, because you guys ask me that question a lot, it's 85 milligrams, so it's not super high. If you don't have this seasoning, which is ever so spicy, it's just like the slightest bit of spice. There is cayenne pepper in there. If you don't have something like this, I would add salt, pepper, probably some paprika, some onion powder, garlic powder, those standard spices, and just cook it in that. Because I have the Sweet Preacher, that's what we're going with. So I'm gonna start by coating this side here. giving it a good amount. Then take it out, and that's gonna go that side down in my crock pot since I seasoned it. Okay, here we go. Now I can wash hands. Now there's a little bit of debate here in the internet world that I wanna get your opinion on. I'm curious because I can see both sides of the argument, and I'll tell you how I do it. Let's add seasoning while we do that. So the debate is whether or not to cook your meat in a crock pot, instant pot, whichever one you're going with. Should it be fat side up or fat side down? And I wanna know in the comments, how do you do it? So here's the two kind of like back and forth reasons that I see. If you go fat side down, they're talking about how it kind of browns the fat at the bottom. It renders the fat a little bit because it's actually touching the sides of the crock pot. And if you go up, then the fat is kind of like melting down and infusing in the meat. That's why I go fat side up. But I wanna know, what is the way that you typically do it, or is that not even something that you pay attention to? I wish you could see my son right now because he just came in from playing outside and he's literally standing behind the camera as I'm talking and going. If y'all could see the behind the scenes of what happens at my house, it's a miracle that I get a video out a week. So the only thing that we're gonna add to this is just a touch of apple cider vinegar kind of around the edges. You don't even have to put liquid in your crock pot, but I do think that infusion of apple cider vinegar is really good. And I'm just now realizing that should have been in my grocery order yesterday. So, all right, that's probably a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons or so. Now at this point, you can add in onions, you can add in garlic, you can add in anything like that that you want. So I'm gonna cook this. You can go on low for like 8 to 10 hours. It takes a really good long time for a chunk of meat like this. Or you can start on high and go more like 6 to 7. That's probably what I'm gonna do just based on the time that it is and then prepping all of the other ingredients. Very economical way to cook in the crock pot. And then I'm gonna show you what the plan is for this right here. My plan for this pork is to get a couple of uses out of it, and I don't want every meal to be the same. We're gonna have these pineapple kind of bowls, pineapple pork bowls with rice and a couple other things. There's so many different ways you can use it, so that's why I don't put the sauce on right now, because we don't wanna have the same meal 3 nights in a row. So I'm gonna go ahead and make the sauce that's gonna go with the pork pineapple bowl. I'm starting with about a couple tablespoons of oil. You can really go up to a 1/4 cup. I just don't really think it needs quite that much. Let's add about a 1/4 cup of tomato paste. So roughly around a 1/2 can or so. Some soy sauce or coconut aminos, about a 1/2 cup of that. All right, we're just gonna finish this off. It might be actually a little less, but that's okay. We have more. If I feel like it needs more, I'll just add it. Okay, let's add about a tablespoon of honey. And my husband just finished mowing, so I can hear the mower coming back into the garage, which means he'll be in any minute. All right, 1 tablespoon, about a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. I'm gonna add in some ginger. This is that ginger paste that you guys know I just have on hand and love because it's so easy to use. And then we've got these chili peppers or chipotle peppers in adobo sauce. I'm gonna add probably only 1 to this. I personally would prefer 2 to 3, but because of the spice level, I'm gonna go ahead and just only add 1 to make sure it's not too spicy for the kids. Okay, so we've got that, and then we'll package those for the freezer. And then I don't have any dried thyme right now, but dried thyme would be completely fine. So I just pulled this fresh thyme off of the garden, and we'll add that. So I do wanna say, as I'm making this, I realize to make your own sauces like this, it's definitely more work, right? Like it's a lot more work than just going to the store and picking up a bottle. But once you start making them, you won't go back because you'll realize that it is just phenomenal. And if you have the right tools to make these sauces a little easier on yourself, like for instance, a good solid blender, that's gonna make a big difference. It will change. It will change your meals to make a good homemade sauce that goes with it. A pinch of salt. And then we'll blend this together. I'll put it in the fridge just to keep it stored. Maybe. I'll put this in the fridge to keep it stored. That's gonna be our sauce that's gonna get mixed with the pork that we're gonna use for the bowls tonight. We're also gonna add in some pineapple though. It's gonna be delicious. The pork is done and it is like the perfect amount of tender. However, let me tell you, it took about 8 hours on high. So significant amount of time. That's why I say, if you're the type of person that is looking for something that you need it to take a long time because you're gone for a long time, this is definitely a great option for you. So I'm going to take it apart. I'm gonna transfer some of it to a bowl so that it can cool a little bit before we actually put it in baggies. And this is a great freezer meal too, because what I typically like to do, if this were not bone in, I would cut it up into freezer size portions with the marinades that I want, pop it in the freezer and let it be ready to go. However, since this is bone in, we usually make it ahead of time, then I'll put freezer sized portions and I'll take it and put it into portions for the freezer so that way later on we can go back and use it. The first meal with this pork, I'm going to make bowls, the pineapple bowls that we made the sauce for earlier. I'm also gonna make this, what's called in the recipe that I'm using, it's called a bang bang sauce. So I'm gonna make that as well. I'm gonna make that up in just a couple minutes here, so I'll show that to you. Look, I'm not even halfway done, and I've already almost filled this bowl. All right, so to prep this, I'm gonna take about a half can of these pineapple chunks and put them into my crock pot. We're actually not gonna make this until tomorrow. I'm prepping everything in here. So if you're not doing this like me, you actually take out whatever pork you're gonna use, put it back into your crock pot, mix your sauce, and then you'll be ready to eat in 30 minutes. We're just doing it this way so that we have it ready after church tomorrow. So if you were gonna finish making this right now, like you're eating it for dinner tonight, you need to take the pineapple, put in about a fourth, depending on the size, obviously, of the pork that you got, put in about a fourth or whatever amount you're gonna need. Then you're gonna mix in that sauce that we made earlier, which, by the way, I just gave it a little taste to just try it, and oh my goodness, it's one of the best sauces for something like this I've ever made. Absolutely delicious. All right, so we just really need enough for these bowls. I'm gonna put all of this sauce in, mix it up, and then it would take 30 more minutes or so just for the sauce really to heat up. That's the main thing. And I would want the pineapple to heat up too, just so it's not cold. But in addition to this, we're also gonna make a little pineapple salsa. So really, you could, it doesn't have to be all the way done because the salsa is gonna be cold-ish. Let's just give this a little stir, get that mixed together. Man, I wish I had made more of that because it's so good. I'm gonna go ahead and make the salsa that's gonna go with this too, so that that's all prepped and ready to go. And then tomorrow, when we're ready to eat, it's literally rice, pork, this salsa, and then the bang bang sauce. All right, in this bowl, I've got about 1.5 cups to 2 cups of pineapple. I'm gonna add in some lime juice here. Let's do about a tablespoon. This is for that salsa. I'm gonna use my herb scissors to add in cilantro. Roughly a 1/2 cup, but this is one of those things where if you like cilantro a lot, you can definitely add more. I also have a jalapeno here, just a little baby one that was on the garden. So I'm going to cut that up really small, finely dice it. Now I'm gonna give this a little mix before I add in the avocado. Once I put the avocado in, I don't wanna mix it too heavily or too strong because I wanna make sure that the avocado doesn't break up too much. Take the avocado and we're going to cut that up. This one's gonna be hard to cut up. We'll just mix this together and then I'm gonna pop this into the refrigerator so we will have that for the bowls tomorrow. All right, the last thing to make for this is what's called the bang bang sauce, and you can opt out of this if you want, if you really want to keep this just how it is, because truly the sauce that we put on the pork is absolutely delicious. I think this is just kind of like another element of flavor that you could add to it. All right, so for this, I'm gonna add about a 1/4 cup or so of mayo to this bowl. And you guys know normally I actually make my own mayo, but we were out of town, and so I bought this one, so we're trying to use it up. Add about 2 tablespoons, or let's do a tablespoon of coconut aminos. Okay, a touch of ginger, just a little bit, and then just a touch of lime. You could do the zest instead, but I've got lime juice right here, so it's like a half teaspoon. A touch of rice vinegar for that acid, really. I mean, like a half teaspoon. I'm gonna add some chili flakes, crushed red pepper flakes, just a little bit for heat, maybe 1/4 teaspoon at the most. And I really need to add in a little bit of garlic. Okay, that's looking pretty good. So we'll just kind of let that work together throughout the night. You could add a touch of sugar to this if it's a little too acidic. I'm thinking because of the coconut aminos in there though, it's not gonna be too sweet. I'm just gonna put it in a little container, pop that in the fridge, and then we will be set and ready for tomorrow when we're ready to eat. The pork will cook in the crock pot just for about 30 minutes or so to reheat everything. Super easy. So not only are you getting a meal now, but you're also getting 2 more later with the protein already made. It's literally just a thaw process because it's already cooked. I had to film really quick before we change because we gotta head to volleyball in a few minutes. Lunch was ready when we got home. We were all starving, so we already ate this. But I had to jump on here and tell you, if you make nothing else on your menu this week, this is the recipe.
Yeah.
Absolutely delicious. All of these random flavors work so well together. In fact,
the cold and the hot or warm pineapple.
I was just about to say that was the most unique thing to me, and it just worked perfectly.
Yeah.
But the sauce that goes on the pork is amazing. But then when you pair it with that bang bang sauce that goes on the top,
sure. Yep.
over the top, y'all. I'm telling you, if you make nothing else this week, that's the recipe right there.
Yep. Here's how I would plate it.
Okay.
I would put the cold pineapple mix in the middle of the bowl, and then rice around it, and then the hot pork and pineapple on top.
To like warm it a little?
Well, just so when you're biting it, your fork is going in and grabbing that cold bite inside of it.
Hands down, you gotta make this one. All right, friends, we are making a slow cooker beef curry dinner. And I've got some beef stew meat here in this package. We are actually about to leave to go watch my daughter in a little performance that she's doing. So I'm gonna throw this all in here real quick, and then we're gonna head out. Pick it up like this, I guess. Ideally, if you have the time, you would go ahead and sear this a little bit over on your stovetop. We're not doing that method today. I'm just throwing it in the crock pot, okay? I'm gonna add some garlic. So I've got a few little garlic cloves right here. Gotta have garlic. Do one more. We need about 3 tablespoons of curry powder. I'm not gonna measure, just doing it by looks here. About 3 tablespoons, maybe a touch more. Let's do a teaspoon-ish of salt. About a half teaspoon of red pepper flakes. This is what adds the heat. So if you're not a fan of spice, leave this part out or make it less. Okay, now I'm gonna try and break it up. I actually took this out of the freezer, the meat, yesterday morning and put it into the refrigerator we just put it in a bowl and to let it thaw out, and it's still not all the way thawed, but it should be fine. Okay, so we're gonna be serving ours with rice, so I need to get that started as well. But let's just toss this, making sure we get that meat nicely coated. Okay, now add in some tomato paste, about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. I'm adding a full 14-ounce can of diced tomatoes. I'm not gonna drain them. I'm just gonna add the whole thing, and a full can of coconut milk. Okay, pour that whole thing in. This is gonna be so good. This is a favorite. We love curry, y'all. Let me toss that a little bit, just kind of getting that tomato paste around. Okay, good to go. All right, now you can cook this on high for 5 to 6 hours, or you can do low for 8 to 10. I'm actually gonna start on high until we get home from her performance, probably around 2 o'clock, and then switch to low and let it go for the rest of the day. I don't have quite 10 hours to go the low the whole time, but I have a little more time than high. So that's how we're gonna do it today. Whichever way you prefer is totally fine. The beef curry has been in the crock pot all day long. I did turn it down to low after it had been in there for a couple of hours. Okay, it's looking really good. I do think this would be awesome if we had some cilantro to serve on the top, but we don't. Let me pull off some thyme and let's see, maybe some parsley too, so we can have a little bit of green with this. Okay, we actually do have cilantro, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut up some of that for the tops of our bowls. All right, beef curry from the crock pot. We are big fans of all things curry, chicken curry, beef curry. My daughter actually asked earlier today, she's like, can you try lamb curry? Sure, loved it. I'd actually definitely like to try
Has
that.
curry scent.
The meat just falls apart because it's been in the crock pot all day. It's super hot right now. It's really good. I think it needs a touch more salt. But other than that,
yes,
the flavors are really good. Mm-hmm. One thing that you might want to do if you want to thicken up the sauce a little bit is, you guys have seen me before where I'll go over to the crock pot and just take the lid off or set it to the side, and that might help some of the steam release and thicken up the sauce a little bit, because traditionally a curry probably would be a little thicker than this, but the flavor is really good and I didn't have to do anything. Like, you guys saw me, I threw it all in the crock pot before we left earlier today.
We were gone for a while.
Yeah, we've been gone, and here we are, now dinner's ready. So I did come and turn mine to low just because it had already been on high for long enough, but yeah, this is a great dinner. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt into this, and I think
aromatic for sure.
Yes, I mean, you can smell the curry for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna add a little bit of salt in there, and man, it's
ready to go.
Yeah, all from the crock pot. It's so good. I think honestly, some of my favorite things that we make in the crock pot are Indian flavors.
Sure.
Because they turn out well almost
Everything's
every
just got to mix together over time.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good, y'all. All right, friends, I have quite a bit of things that I need to get done today. I need to be out in the sunshine because, as you can hear, there's something going on here. So that is why I am dressed like so for this morning. It is currently 9:30, and I'm gonna get this into the crock pot because it takes 8 to 10 hours for this pork shoulder, pork butt thing to cook. So I'm starting by just cutting up some white onion that we're gonna put at the bottom of the crock pot. That should be enough. And we're just gonna break this apart and just put it here. It's just creating a nice base layer for this pork to sit on. And I think I'm actually gonna do a little bit more. On the upside, I can't breathe, so the onion's not making me cry. Okay, so that's what I've got there at the bottom, a nice layer of onion. This is a boneless Boston butt. I picked this up at the Fresh Market because it was actually on sale. It was one of their like daily deals or whatever that they were doing. Go ahead and take off the twine that's holding it together. This is gonna get a really, really nice coat of salt and pepper, and then I'm also gonna add some of this Italian herb seasoning from this grinder all over. I mean, you need to like well season, over season. Wash hands and repeat. Now, I am not gonna be adding my barbecue sauce now. I'm gonna wait until this has been cooking for a little while. I feel like because of the liquid that a meat like this produces, if you add it now, the barbecue sauce just gets watery, so we're gonna wait. We'll make that up in a little bit and then end up adding it. Go into the crock pot here. At this point, I'm gonna add in some apple cider vinegar, and that's really just gonna go around the bottom, adding some liquid into the crock pot here, and then we'll be able to cook this on low for 8 to 10 hours until it just falls apart. I'll probably come back in around probably like 5 to 6 hours and check it and see, all right, is it time to add in the barbecue sauce? Oh, but with that said, you can absolutely add in the barbecue sauce now. I'm just choosing to wait. I would just say don't add in all of it now, add in some of it so it gets that flavor while it's cooking, but then save some so that you can, when you pull the meat out, you're mixing the barbecue sauce with the meat and getting that barbecue flavor with that thick sauce. Okay, this is probably like a 1/4 cup or so. I'm also gonna throw in a few garlic cloves. That's 4. All right, lid on, cook on low, 8 to 10 hours. We'll be back after I've been outside working and doing all the things. I'm gonna make my own barbecue sauce. Obviously, this is completely unnecessary. Feel free to just buy whatever your favorite one is, but this is something I've been working on for a little while, is making barbecue sauce. And so we've kind of found some things we love. I'm still tweaking it a bit, but this is what we have so far for the recipe. 6 ounces of tomato paste. We're gonna make a recipe, but we're not gonna use the whole thing in this. We'll have enough that we can put it into a container and have barbecue sauce for days. We'll be fine. So to this, I'm gonna add in between 3/4 and 1 full cup of water. I like to add brown sugar to mine, about a 1/4 cup, maybe a touch more. Depends on how sweet you want your barbecue sauce to be. Some apple cider vinegar in between 2 and 3 tablespoons, just really depending on how vinegary you want yours to be. 2 tablespoons of molasses. You could sub out and use like maple syrup or even honey if that's what you want. This is just, it's a little bit more of like a smoky kind of flavor, I guess you could say. About a tablespoon of Worcestershire. We're gonna add some yellow mustard seed powder, but if you don't have this, you can use Dijon or a brown mustard instead, like the actual mustard that's already made up. So I'm gonna do around a teaspoon, maybe a touch less, maybe more like 3/4 of a teaspoon. About a 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, and I don't measure, y'all, just because I've done this several times. Some onion powder, again, about a 1/2 teaspoon of that as well. About a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. Crushed red pepper flakes if you want to add a touch of heat to yours. So literally like 1/8 of a teaspoon. It doesn't need to be much at all. And toss in some salt, about a 1/2 or so teaspoon of that. If I were not going into the crock pot, I would heat this over on the stovetop and let everything work together and kind of form a sauce. But since I'm putting this into the crock pot, I don't need to do that. Now what's left over, I probably will. I might even just pop it into the microwave and get everything kind of working together. But your best bet is to probably heat this up a little bit and let it kind of thicken and all come together. Now just looking at it, I can tell it needs a little more molasses. So I'm gonna go for that. And you know what? Let's just pop this into the microwave for a minute so that the brown sugar might dissolve. I'll start with 30 seconds and go from there. While that's in there, I wanna show you something about the pork. So this is what I was talking about. Do you see how much liquid it makes? Well, if you're putting the barbecue sauce in there originally when you're cooking it, then your barbecue sauce is gonna get very watery. And I don't want that. I want mine to be a nice, thick barbecue sauce. So here we are. It's been in there for about 6 or so hours, maybe 7 hours. And I'm gonna pull a lot of this liquid out so that we can add in the sauce. We actually might end up using all of this on this recipe. We'll see, because that's a decent size chunk of meat. So we'll see how it works. All right, so let me set that to the side, and we need to pull out some of this liquid. Let's see where we are on a tenderness scale. Oh, don't touch that. That would have been really dumb. Wow. My sinuses are messing with my brain. Oh yeah, we still need more time here for sure. It's not falling apart at all. Well, at the bottom it is, but it definitely needs more time. I actually might crank it up to high at this point because I do think it needs some more time. But before that, let's go ahead and pour some barbecue sauce all over and just let that kind of be working. And then the rest of it, I'm gonna put into the fridge because when this is done and we pull the barbecue apart, like we pull the meat and make it pulled pork, I'll probably add in some more as well. Okay, go back into the crock pot, crank it up to high and let it go. I am gonna be making rice to go with this meal, but before I do that, while the pork is still cooking, because it's 4 o'clock right now, so we've still got time, I'm gonna go ahead and make up the slaw that goes with it. Take a bag of slaw and just pop that into a bowl. I'll probably end up adding green onions. I need to check and see how those look on the garden, but we do need to add some cilantro. If you don't like cilantro, just skip this, it'll be totally fine. About 1/4 cup of chopped cilantro. I've got some stems there, let me get those out. About 3 tablespoons of lime juice. Add about a tablespoon of avocado oil. You can use olive oil instead if that's your preference. I need to refill this. Just give me enough, please. About a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Add a touch of sweetness with honey, so just about 2 teaspoons. Cumin, I'm gonna go with close to a 1/2 teaspoon, maybe even up to a full teaspoon, but that's because we like cumin so much. So if you're not as much of a fan as we are, then maybe go less on this one. I am gonna add a touch of cayenne, just a touch, like a 1/4 teaspoon, closer to even maybe an 1/8 teaspoon, and then hit it with a bit of salt, about a 1/2 teaspoon there. Okay, let's toss that. Like I said, I'll probably go in with some green onion. I just need to check and see. I think I have some on the garden. Let me check. I did. All right, so this is a very simple slaw, but with all of the other ingredients in this bowl, you don't want this, I mean, you want it to enhance the meal, but you don't want it to be the standout of the meal. Really, the pork is what you want to be that standout. That's good flavor. Into the fridge until we're ready for dinner. I'm gonna go ahead and get the rice kind of in the bowl so that once we're ready, I can just click the button and the rice can be cooking. But other than that, we're looking good. Okay, the rice is almost done. Take this out. I know that it's done. And this bowl is definitely too big for this. Actually, all right, in here, these bear claw things, they will take this apart so fast. Now I'm gonna pour some more of that barbecue sauce all over the top and just mix it in. I did save a little bit to the side because if anybody wants to put more on their bowl, it'll be available. Let me just, that is so good. That's delicious. So this is the bowl assembly. Start with a base of rice, however much you want. We're gonna add coleslaw, add in some pork. Now I'm gonna add these pickles on mine. These are homemade, but obviously you don't have to make homemade pickles. Then I'm gonna drizzle with a little bit more of the barbecue sauce. Top with cilantro for that pop of green. And there we go. Dinner is served. Barbecue, pork, rice bowls, coleslaw, pickles, all the good stuff. There's a lot of meat left, which is awesome because it is really good. You guys just saw me taste that a minute ago.
It's unique. It's an odd assortment of flavors.
Right.
Especially with the pickle.
Oh, I didn't even get it with the pickle.
Yeah. It's like the cilantro and the pickle. It's odd, but it's yummy. Like I would want each element in each bite.
I like the fact that I like all the different textures for sure. The crunchiness of the slaw with the pork and the rice. To me, all these flavors don't seem like they would work together, but they absolutely do work together. Yeah. It's really interesting and really good. I definitely like this one. Like
I think it's delicious.
I'm excited that we have leftovers because for lunch tomorrow, this is gonna be amazing. Yes. And we'll leave them all separate and just assemble the bowls for lunch. But this is really good.
Did you do the pickle that time?
It's even better
good, right?
with the pickle.
Yeah.
That is very good, y'all. You get all the different flavors here because the sweetness of that barbecue sauce is balanced by the acidity of the pickles. You've got some acidity in that coleslaw and just the different textures. This is very, very good.
I agree.
Our verse today comes from Isaiah 43:2. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overwhelm you. When you walk through fire, you shall not be burned, and the flame shall not consume you. I hope that you enjoyed this video, but don't stop here. I've got even more easy crock pot dinners that are gonna save you time and taste amazing. Check out the video that I have listed above because it has amazing recipes in it. You can even make them when you're short on time, still in the crock pot, so you don't have to babysit. I'd love if you would subscribe and stick around for more content like this, and I hope you're having a great week.